Every no you've ever gotten came from a measurement that assumed it had an unlimited supply of them. It doesn't. Will Serfort had no magic in a world that ran on it. The measurement isn't unique to his world. Every institution, every hiring process, every standard someone else built and handed you as the definition of capable, they all run on the same assumption. The person being measured will leave. Most people do. They leave before it runs out. Every filter the Academy built for people like him, he hit. Every evaluation, every threshold. He graduated 1 credit short of what the tower required. 1. And then the headmistress created a new category. Not because he found a workaround. Not because he got lucky. Because what he was doing didn't fit anything the Academy already had. What that actually required, nobody talks about that part. The Academy's credit structure was built to measure one thing: magical output, spells cast, affinity scores. One question: how much magic can this person produce? So he went into the dungeon, not because it was the smartest move, not because someone told him to, because it was the only route the Academy's credit structure had left open and he needed credits. And this was how you got them without magic. He descended floors, he killed monsters, he filed the credits. The Academy counted them, because it had to. They were legitimate credits by its own rules. Nobody who built those rules imagined anyone would use this route to get to 7,000. The Academy wasn't failing Will because it was hostile. It was failing him because it was narrow. It was measuring one thing. He was building something else entirely. The Academy could count his credits. It couldn't classify what he was becoming. 7,199 credits, 1 short. By the Academy's own rules, Will had done everything except be the thing it was designed to produce: a mage. He wasn't one. Watch what the Academy does with that. The rule can't bend. It was built before someone like Will existed. Insufficient credits, entry denied. The rules were working exactly as designed. That was the problem. Will had built something the Academy's designers never imagined anyone would build from inside it. The Academy had one move left, and Will was still there. One question nobody asks about Will Serfort: not how he accumulated 7,199 credits, not how he survived without magic, why he went back. Every institutional verdict, Will Serfort went back into the dungeon. Not because he thought the Academy would change its mind, not because he believed recognition was coming. He had a promise to keep. Those no's had real authority over the path. None of them had authority over where he was actually trying to go. Watch what he's actually moving toward. Not institutional approval, not a grade, a promise, and something the Academy had no power over. The Academy could deny him entry. It could not deny him the reason he was there. Will Serfort wasn't trying to beat the Academy. He was trying to make it recognize him. A promise existed on the other side of the tower. The Academy had no claim on it. The no had no power over his destination. The question is whether you've let the verdict define where you're actually trying to go. Will Serfort proved something the credit structure never accounted for. A measurement running out of ways to block your path is not the same as a measurement running out of ways to block your destination. People spend years fighting the wrong battle, path or destination. Nobody tells you to check which one it is. Will Serfort wasn't the only person inside the Academy with something to prove. Sion Ulster had magic. Real, functional, institutional, approved magic. He held authority. He understood exactly how the credit structure worked, and he used that understanding to make Will's continued presence as difficult as possible. He wasn't wrong about the rules. Watch what Sion is actually doing. He is not inventing the rules. He is not abusing the Academy. He is applying the rules exactly as they were designed to be applied, and by their own logic, he is correct. The Academy said Will didn't belong. Sion agreed. The credit threshold was the threshold. Sion made sure of it. Everything Sion did was the rules working as intended. You know someone like this. The person who understands the rules perfectly, who applies their logic without cruelty, just accurately, who looks at what you're building and sees correctly that it doesn't fit the measurement. And then the headmistress created a new category. She classified Will's courage as a newly created spell, a classification that didn't exist before he arrived, a measurement the Academy had never needed. Nobody had ever done what he did from inside it. Sion had no answer for that. Not because he was wrong, because he had built everything on top of the Academy's measurement, and Will had built something underneath it. When the measurement shifted, Sion was standing on it. Will was already below it. The Academy didn't reward Will. It ran out of ways to exclude him. Those are not the same thing. The credential, the grade, the metric, the measurement in your life has a way of deciding who belongs. A way of deciding who belongs. You have been building on top of that, letting it define what arrival looks like. Will didn't optimize for the measurement. He built something the measurement had never been asked to classify. And when the measurement finally had to account for it, the measurement changed, not Will. The Academy moved around him. One question is still open. What did Will build below the Academy's reach? The common read on what the headmistress did is that Will won. A new classification, courage recognized, entry granted. That is not a win. A win means being recognized on their terms, getting what the measurement was designed to give. The measurement in your life has a way of deciding who belongs. Credential, a grade, and approval, written for someone else, not for what you're actually building. The Academy ran out of ways to say no. Then it had to write a classification that had never existed, just to account for what Will was doing. Running out of ways to say no, that is not the same thing as winning. That is something harder to achieve and rarer to see. Not a better version of what the Academy was already producing, not a smarter route through the existing framework. A way of operating so native to who he was that nothing the Academy had built was designed to classify it. His courage ability didn't emerge from training the Academy's curriculum. It emerged from emotional bonds, from promises, and from the weight of what he was moving toward. He was moving toward Elferia, a person, not a credential. The Academy couldn't classify it because the Academy had never met anyone who built from emotional bonds instead of magical ability. And it will keep saying no until you build a way of operating so native to who you are, the measurement runs out of language for it. Will Serfort didn't beat the Academy. He kept going, from a place so specific to who he was, till the Academy had to invent a classification that had never existed before just to keep up. The category didn't exist before he arrived. It exists now because he never left. Will Serfort didn't wait for permission. He kept going until the world had to write new language for what he was doing. I built the StarHeart Guild on Patreon for exactly that, for the people who are still going. Monthly challenges, deep dives, something to come back to when nothing external is pushing you. Founding enrollment is still open. First members in get their name on every video permanently. The link's in the description. The category didn't exist before he arrived. It exists now because he never left. Until next time, crew, under the glow of stars, we forge our future together. Captain Geo Bravo, signing off. Peace.